a huge fan of Eric Johnson. I've always this been one of those sorts of tones that I really enjoy trying to delve into. It's really his lead tone. For me, my favourite Eric Johnson stuff is like the Venus Isle era, which is actually a little bit darker and wetter than some of the other stuff. In this video, these videos are brought to you, by the way, by G66 UK, and Suk will sort you out with FM3s, FM9s, Axfx 3s, and yeah, no waitlist in the UK, and yeah, really quick shipping and no import charges, so good news. I wanted to start off with, basically I was watching a James Santiago video, and James, I believe, works for Universal Audio now, used to work for Voodoo Labs, and I think has toured with Eric. He seems to know a lot of stuff, and he has one of the, I think, best videos kind of demonstrating this tone with a real plexi. And so I started off kind of from his starting point, sort of. So we start off with the 1959 Super Lead plexi. This is the reissue. We're going to jump the channels, and we're going to have the treble at 9.8, normal gain at 9.62, bass at 5, mids at 5, treble at 5, and the presence off. Cab wise, I decided to go with the Dyna cabs, and we're using a condenser mic, kind of pretty central, but a little bit away from the cone slightly, and using a high slope of 6 dB on the high cut, 10679. So we're just taking off a little bit of the kind of hairy stuff. Then for the delay, 420 milliseconds. This is quite an important one with the stereo tape. So the only real difference here is that this tape kind of stays out of the way of the center a little bit. We've got the mix here at 10.2. You could experiment with that. Go a bit wetter if you want. Let's just take it up a smidge. Then going into the vocal plate, let's put this to ultra high quality. And I did make some adjustments here. I kind of opened up the high cut a bit because it's a little bit of a darker tone anyway, and brought in the low cut a little bit. So low cut here at 117.6, and opened up the high to 14246. So that's kind of most of the fundamentals covered. And then we go into the Chandler tube driver, the 4 knob. The gain here, adjust these to taste. I've got the gain at about 5.65. The bass I turned down to 0. Eric generally has the bass and treble down. I have the treble at 1 a little bit, so just a smidge of treble there, and the level here at 2.85. So that was kind of my first attempt. So this was supposed to be something like Cliffs of Dover, was what James was going for in the video, and kind of does something pretty close to it, and yeah, I kind of like the sound of that. So then I thought, well, let's try a different amp, because we've got other plexis in here. Of course, we've got a bunch of plexis, more plexis than you can shake a stick at. We have a bunch here, as you can see. So you've got 50 watts, 50 watt jumped, 100 watt 1970, 100 watt jumped. So this is what I decided to go with, the Plexi 100 watt jump. Relatively similar settings. But I felt like the first one had a bit of a softer attack. So I was liking that, but I was thinking I'd quite like a bit more sustain with it. One of the things, of course, we don't have a real amp in the room kind of to play off of, And so then I stuck on Venus Isle and listened to it a little bit, the Manhattan solo, and I decided, right, I'll start with the 1959 SLP jumped again, took the normal gain back to 7.5, the treble gain to 9.55, took the treble and presence down. Everything else is about the same, except in the cab block, you see the position and distance is slightly different, and I've brought a high cut in pretty far down aggressively to like 2950.9, the 6 dB high slope. And so another thing I did was I jumped into the dynamic section of our amp, and I decided let's put this onto feedback mode for a bit more sustain. And I think there's a little bit more anyway. Seemed to me like there was. I turned down the output compressor clarity so that it wasn't so bright. If you turn that back up, you might be able to get you're basically controlling some of your kind of chirpiness in the pick attack. So those are kind of the things that I was doing to get something close-ish to kind of the magic of the Eric Johnson thing. I've done this sort of experimentation many times, trying to get somewhere close. There are also some stock presets that you might want to check out. But for me, with my particular guitar, I felt like I'm getting more of what I want here. And if you want something a little bit less dark, open up this high cut. Don't forget to be using your bridge pickup for this. Also, scene 1. Could also be a good one, but also that, let's try this here. Feedback, output compression. I feel like in that case I probably want to bring this high cut down to get give that sort of thing a go. So yeah, I'll drop this into the preset folder up on Gumroad if you're interested in that. But I just was inspired by that James Santiago video to have another look at some of the fundamentals of this and have a play around. And I kind of enjoyed where I ended up. So I'll catch you in another video soon. And cheers for hanging around. Cheers to G66. Bye.